Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 203 of Build Your Stash and Craft. Today we are going to make an advent calendar for this Christmas season, and this is just one of the things when I was a kid. I think that twice when I was a kid we had these, and you opened them up and there was a little chocolate inside, and there were 6 kids in our family, so you didn't get to open one very often, but I've always loved these, and I thought we're going to just make one that can be used year after year. So what we're going to need is 2 packs of these little condiment cups. They look like this. Now, we also, at one time we got the little red solo cups when we made our little dolls. Those would work too. That's what I was looking for, but I couldn't find any, so I got these. They're 2 12 packs, so that's going to be 24. Your choice will be the 25th day is Christmas, so you don't need to have one to open on Christmas Day, but or you can add something at the bottom that you will use as your 25th day. So I'm going to do it as 24 because the 25th day is Christmas. But what we're going to do is we're going to need 2 pieces of foam core board. With those, you can adjust the size of your foam core board if you're using something else, but we'll need 2 pieces that are 18 inches by 18 inches. And so I just happen to have a piece here that is 36 by 19. I'm just going to leave it 36 by, or I'm going to make it 18 by 19 this way. At the Dollar Tree, they are 18, no, I forget. You'll need 2 boards at the dollar store. They're 30 by, I think they're 30 by 24 maybe. And then you can just make them any size that you want to, so long as your Christmas tree will fit inside, because that's what we're going to make is a Christmas tree with this. Alrighty, so we'll need 2 pieces that are 18 by 19 at least, and then we're going to need 24 of these cups. We'll need a piece of our tissue paper, so we have 2 packages of these, and 2 boards is $4. That's what it's going to cost us, and then we'll just use things that we already have, like tissue paper and that type of thing. So the way that we're going to start this out is we're just going to, at the top of the middle of our board, this is 18 inches wide, so I want to measure 9 inches at the top. So 9 inches is right here, so that's the center of my board. And so then we're just going to start by putting a cup, and it's going to be 1, and then 2, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then there will be 3 across the bottom, and you'll put a stem on there. But we'll just start right here in the middle, towards the top, because we don't have a whole ton of room. So we're going to start towards the top, right about in the center, and we're just going to draw around the cup. Now we have to remember one thing. We're not going to cut on this line that we just drew, because if we did, our cup would fall all the way through. So we're going to have to come in about 1/4 of an inch. I don't like this ruler. I can't do the end of it that way. So there, we're going to catch on this lip right here. And so that is approximately 1/4 of an inch in order to catch it there. So if it's a little bit too big, if we put a little bit too much, we'll just stick out a little further. We just want to make sure that we don't make it that size, or it's the outside of this hole will fall right through. So there's 1. And then we're going to put this one right back on here, so that we can kind of line these 2 up in the middle, just like this. Now we're going to line them up, not quite touching that line, and not quite touching each other, so that we have room to draw around it, and we will have room, so it will be a little bit more sturdy. Carefully go right there. Now that I have that one drawn and this one in place, this one can get out of our way for right this second, and then we'll just draw around this one. And we just want them to be very close. almost touching. And they're not all going to be totally exact. So if it's not perfectly touching, that's totally fine. And so then we're going to do 3. So I'm just going to kind of line them up, put the one in the middle first, make it almost touching the lines, and then put the one next to it, almost touching it and almost touching that line. And then this one, like that. Whoops. And then just hold it there. Draw around it. I can move that one out of the way. Okay, and like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then 3. So we're going to do that all the way down so that we'll have our Christmas tree. And then for me, the only way I can really think of doing this is to use an X-Acto knife. You can kind of draw yourself a line, just an approximate line, just inside. It doesn't have to be perfectly round, but just kind of draw yourself a line inside there. If you have a little compass, that would work really good. We do have a compass. You could just put your compass approximately in the middle and do it. For me, this is just because it doesn't have to be exact. You're not going to see this. It'll be inside and under the cups and everything, so it doesn't matter if it's perfect. I know darn well that cutting this with an X-Acto knife is definitely not going to give me a perfect circle. I am not that good at it. But at least by drawing the lines in here, and when I do something like this, I'll draw them all right away. And the reason is so that I don't get to cutting and then get down to, let's say this line, I didn't mark these two, accidentally cutting on that outside line and then having to start all over because it won't fit. Of course, if you did cut on the outside line, you could kind of tape it back into place and then cut the center out of it. It would not be as sturdy, but you would be able to tape that little bit to the back of the board and it would hold up. It just might not last as long, you know, because these will be able to be used year after year. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do all of them and cut them out, but I do want to cut out 1 or 2 while we're here, just to those off. So, and then I think that I'll just start there and kind of cut down towards the center. I'm going to cut it a little bit like a pie. And then just go over here like this. And I don't know if this will make it easier or not. And you'll want to have your cutting board and put your cutting board underneath there so you can set it down flat on your cutting board and then just go around like this. Hopefully I'm not cutting through my tablecloth. Okay, now when it starts to be cutting towards you, move your board, move your hand, something. Don't ever cut towards yourself. Now you're not going to be able to see me now. So just, if you can kind of see this. Now this is not the optimum way to do this. You're going to set this on your table. You're going to have your cutting board, and you're just going to lay it down. It'll be safer for me to just keep it on the table than to be doing that. Just move my body. Okay. We're just going to come around here. Hold this up off the table. I'm going to have to go get my cutting board so that I can finish all of these up, because that's something I did forget. But we'll just check how this first one works. before I go away and do the others, because like I said, this is going to take a while, but it is going to be something that you can use every year, which is really quite fun. And it's very fun for little kids to be able to open one of the windows every day. And it's not really going to be a window opening. We're going to use tissue paper, where the tissue paper can be like broken, and then the prize gets pulled out. And you can put candy in there. You could put a daily devotion in there. You know, it doesn't have to be candy. It doesn't have to be a toy. It can just be something. For adults, a daily devotion would be really nice. Maybe a little piece of chocolate in with it every once in a while or something like that. And like I said, if you've got your cutting board, this would be a whole lot easier. Whoops. There we go. Just kind of pop them out of there. You can flip it over to see where you're still kind of connected. Just cut those pieces of paper wherever it's still connected carefully. And then we'll see how it fits. So we're going to take this and put it in there just like that. And ooh, that fits really nicely. That fits right up in there. So that is great. And then what we'll do is we'll just glue that in. Also, we are going to have the other board's going to be on top of this, so that will also hold it in. So if you say, well, the glue might not hold the plastic, that's okay. It's not going to matter because the other board will be on top. So we're going to do it so that we have all of these cut out and filled, and then I will be back and show you how we're going to put the rest of it together. Okay, I am back, and we started out, I had drawn on the 1, the 2, and the 3 circles, and then I said we would go 4 and then 5 and then 6, and then at the bottom there would be 3. So it's very hard to get this whole thing in the camera. I've raised it up a little bit, but so that is, see if we raise it a little bit more. I'm not going to be able to get absolutely the whole thing in there, but this way you'll at least get a good gist of what it looks like. So after I cut this whole thing, then this is where we are going to put our cups. We'll need one on the top to hold those in, and also to sandwich our tissue paper between. Excuse me. So what I did was I took the other piece. Remember, we had 2 pieces of foam core, and I just set this on top of it. Drew inside all of my circles, and at that point, because these circles we know are the right size, we don't have to do the 1/4 inch, go in 1/4 of an inch. We just draw around these circles and cut the exact same hole on the second piece of foam core. So now we have these 2 pieces, and let me see. And because I'm not like exactly in the middle or whatever, I just have to make sure that I have the right, make sure they're matching up, because one way it doesn't quite fit as well. So see, this way it doesn't fit as well. And so this is my top of my board. This is where our little cups will go. And so what we will do is we'll put 1 cup in each of these holes. Then when we put this on top, that will go ahead and hold those in so that they do not come out. And what you want to do before you paint it, because once you paint it, if your cups don't fit and you have to trim them up, then you'll have to repaint it. So, and then I did just go ahead and I just used, this is just Craft Smart, just green. And this one was an outdoor green grass, and I just squirted some on there, both colors, took a chip brush, which This is a chip brush, and you can get them in different sizes at your hardware store. They're very reasonable. This is a 3-inch one, so I just squeezed both colors on there and just went across. Whatever kind of got stuck in the middle, I just took my fingers and I rubbed it around there like that. And by the time I did both sides, I wound up having the middle all covered. So there were a few places where it was still white where I had to get just a little more paint and touch it up. But because when you do this, you wind up getting the paint catching there, so you can just rub it on. And just a little thing, a tip, because, you know, I had to do this and wait for it to dry, turn it over, do that, do the other one. When I'm using the same brush over and over with the same colors and everything, but I have to wait for things to dry, what I do is I take a quite wet paper towel, and then I just set my paintbrush in that wet paper towel and stick it in a baggie. Now, I don't normally leave this like overnight or anything, but I will leave it for the whole day throughout the day as I'm using it. And, you know, that way it just keeps that all moist, but I'm not having to rinse it out. And then actually I'm not wasting that paint either. So this is our bottom, and this is where our cups are going to go. So for right this second, we're just going to set this aside, because now what we need to do is we figured out that this was our top, and I'm going to make sure just so that I don't do it. Okay, yep, and I'm just, you know, lining it up on the top and the bottom and both sides just to make sure my holes are lining up, because they are off just a little bit, and it does. So this is the top, and so what you can do with your top, well, no, let's do this first. All right. Okay, so we have our bottom. What we're going to have is we'll have our bottom with the cups in it. We will have our tissue paper on top of that to cover up whatever we put in our cups. And then this is going to be on top of our tissue paper. So what we're going to do next is just put our tissue paper here. And then you can draw circles. I kind of wish I had a pencil, but I don't. So I'm just going to I'm going to kind of just do like a half of a, just kind of draw a little bit right there. Just kind of like a little smile. Be careful not to, I'm on a soft surface, so I need to be careful not to poke a hole in my tissue paper, because up there on one of them I could tell that I did kind of. So all I'm doing is all the way for each and every one of them. Now you can leave it just like this actually. I kind of like this, and this is just tissue paper that's been tea dyed. But I want to show you something else that you can do then. Oh, well, I didn't do a very good job. Because we want to know where these circles are so that we can decorate our tree. Okay. So then what we want to do is we want to put some decoration behind those holes, and you can do it in lots of different ways. But I thought that we could just make some little stamps. And what this is this is the piece that I cut out of the hole. So I just went ahead and glued some fun foam on here. This one I just cut little bits and glued it on there. I have this one here where the piece that I cut out of the middle of this one, I just glued on there, and then just 2 straight pieces. And then I did cover the ends. So what I'm going to do here is just trim that off. And this is going to be abstract. This is not going to be perfect. We know approximately where the holes are, but we don't know that these circles are exactly the same size as those circles. So it's going to be abstract. It will be off a little bit. You know, if you want something more perfect, you can draw around your circles and paint them in. You could paint the whole thing. You can glitter the whole thing. You can do it however you want to. I just thought these little abstract baubles would be kind of fun. So you can just, this one I did 2 of them, which are just solid fun foam. So then you can just make it any way that you want to. And then wherever you draw the line, if you haven't made your own fun foam stamps before, you just take fun foam, and wherever you draw into it, that part will not get ink on it. It won't touch your paper. And so it will leave the background color, in this case the tea-dyed tissue paper, will show through in these areas wherever you press down on the fun foam. And the more you go back and forth, the wider your line will get, and the wider your line will be when you stamp it on your paper. So you just decorate them up like that. And just any which way that you may want to do. You could just do those little bits. Kind of like little snowflakes or stars, whatever you would want to call them. You can punch your fun foam if you have a punch that will punch it, and then glue those pieces onto your circle. So you can do it any which way that you may want to decorate it. Maybe make it look like your favorite ornament when you were young. And this is also a real fun thing to do if you have some young kids that would like to help you get this ready to go, and let them each decorate a few of the holes. So there we go. And then what we'll do is we'll just put ink on these and stamp them in all on top of each one of those little spots to get some decoration for our Christmas tree. I'm going to be right back because I forgot to bring out the ink. Okay, I'm back. And so we will just go ahead and ink some of these up. And if you've ever seen me make fun foam stamps before, you know that normally I put a handle on the back of them. And the reason that I do is because then you don't get the ink on your fingers, and then transfer that ink to whatever it is you're stamping. But I forgot to do it on these, so I've got, you know, there's the bottom of that circle, so I'm just going to stamp that one on there. Kind of wipe that off my fingers. Give it a chance for that ink to soak into your tissue paper. And there we go. Now, you can also do them in different colors. Like you could have done that one, done some of the lines with yellow, some of them with red. You know, you don't have to do the whole thing one color. I'm doing them just one color because it's faster. But like I said, this is the one that's our little bits. So let's do a blue one. And so we'll do this one blue. I'm going to try and not get it all over my fingers. Just get it patted on there really well. Kind of smooth it out a little bit. I always tend to grab blue ink whenever I have blue fun foam. I don't know why I do that, because then you can't see where you've got the ink. Okay, I'm going to put that on top of that one. And I suppose that one really kind of had a top and a bottom, but I didn't pay attention when I put it down, so it is what it is. Okay, let's do a purple one with this one. Well, you know what? Let's do this one. Let's do purple, and I think this is pink or red, orange. Not sure what color this one is. It's one. Oh yeah, it's orange. There we go. I'll put this one over here. Just going to press that one down, give that one a press and pick it up, give that one a press and pick it up. And then we'll do this one. We'll do it this other color purple. Like I said, you can decorate your tree any way you wish. You could color these all in. You could just put some glitter on your paper and that would show through your holes. You can do it so many different ways. I thought about pictures, but you really wouldn't want to put like a picture of people, because if you put the picture on there, you've got to break through these areas to get to what's inside. So a picture might not be the best idea. But we've done this one, we have done this one, but let's do it again. Let's do this one. Whoops. Try and do like red. Now this would be a place where having kids markers would work good, because you'd color it with the kids markers. It'd be easier to get into those spots. Since I just want to do this middle line. Color it with kids' watercolor markers and then breathe on it. When you're done, as soon as you color it, you just give it a puff of air like that. And put it sideways. And then that kind of dampens it up enough for it to transfer. There we go. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to fill these all in, and then I will be back because we have some more things to do and our video here is getting long. So I'm just going to use these same stamps, and I'm just going to randomly put some color on here, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, I am back, and I have all of our bubbles stamped on here. So we've got it stamped right down to the 3 across the bottom. And now that we've got this done, we can start to put our Christmas tree together, our advent calendar. But I also wanted to say that you can use your stamps that you made to put on your Christmas tree on Christmas cards, or just having the kids, kids can just play around and make Christmas pictures for the walls, or you can even make Christmas pictures for the walls. But but remember that even though we made them for this tree, you can use them now whenever you need something Christmassy. So what we're going to do next, well, first we'll take, this is the top of our tree. Now what I may do, and just so that this video is not forever long, I'm going to tell you a few of the things that you can do. Like I might take a lighter green and maybe just kind of swoosh out around my tree to make it just this part look like a tree. Maybe I should have painted the background a different color other than green, but I didn't think about it till after I did it. And I thought, oh, well, I could have just made the Christmas tree. But our shape is so nicely like a Christmas tree that we really don't have to worry about that. You can also decorate it, not only decorating your bulbs, you can hang tinsel on there. You can stick any of your little glitters on there, and and that would be really, really pretty to just place those around. There's plenty of room in here to put a lot of your little blingy bits. So you can, decorate it just like you would decorate another Christmas tree. So this is what it's going to look like when we put it together. And like I said, it's going to be a little bit abstract. Those circles were not stamped in exactly the right place. So I'm going to kind of line it up where I think it's going to look the best, which is going to be right about there. I think I want the top one lined up for sure. Okay, and then I'm just going to draw here across the top, across the other side, and across the bottom, so that I can just trim it down. The trim doesn't have to be perfect, but we don't want it to stick out the edge. So I'm going to kind of trim it just inside where I just drew we already know the only part that will show is going to be where our little Christmas baubles are. So we'll just trim it up so that it will fit between the two pieces. And the bottom. I think I just made, not sure if that was already ripped like that or if I just ripped it like that, but it doesn't matter because it's on the inside. It will be hidden. Okay, and what we're going to want to do with the tissue paper is just put a few bits of glue just in a few spots. We're going to put this right on top of the other so it will kind of hold, but we want it to, when you go to punch out one of the holes, you don't want it to rip the whole thing. So we're going to put a few little dabs of glue on the back side where the holes kind of come together. And it doesn't have to be a whole lot. You just want it to kind of hold that circle. When you punch it out, you want it to hold the tissue paper in its place, the rest of it. So I'm just going between each one, but just a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect or fancy because you're not going to see it. And then you will have to peel this off the back when you're all done at the end of the year so that you can do next year's next year. So you'll peel off what you can. But it's tissue paper. It's, you know, if you can't get it all off, it's not going to make that big of a difference. So now again, I'm going to line this up with the top one. Then just kind of glance at the rest. Just kind of want to straighten it up there. I'm going to kind of flip it over now that I've got it where I want it. I'm not going to kind of flip it over. I am going to flip it over. And I'm going to press those parts down. And kind of smooth your tissue paper out towards the outside edges just to kind of keep it tight so it's poppable. And I think I moved it. I'm just down at the bottom, just finishing up the bottom ones. So we've got that. I am going to trim a little bit more of this off. Because it doesn't need to be super close to the edges. And being that it's going to be on the inside, it doesn't matter that it's all kind of choppy. I'm going to set this aside. And it would be good to let it dry, because if that glue comes through the tissue paper, it might glue itself right to the top of your, because it's going to sit right on top of here. So you don't want the glue on that tissue paper to glue itself to here. But again, if it does, you just peel it off. You could probably just soak them in some water if they had something stuck to them. So I'm just going to spread these out. And I am going to put the top on it right now so you can see. Now, the one thing that you can do this a couple of ways. You can cover the back with a piece of pretty paper. You can paint the outside. Don't paint the inside, because if you're going to put candy in there, you don't want to paint the inside of the bowl. But you could paint the outside of the bowls, or put some tissue paper over the back of the whole thing so that no one can see what's inside your bowls, because they're clear. So from the back, you'll be able to see into them. And I actually was going to paint the outside of them and forgot. So I may do that later, or I may just go ahead and cover them with some pretty Christmas paper. So we're going to spread these out. You can also, if you would like to, and I don't think I'm going to start this year. Maybe I will, after I find out how it works, because I've never done this before. I've had it in my head, but, put a little bit of glue along the rim before you press them together, and that would glue those pots right to the board. I don't know that matters to me, because I'm kind of thinking that I might want to take these pots out and stack them up to store this with the Christmas stuff. So I'm just pressing these all down. You want to make sure that your backboard, that the holes are big enough for your bowls to really press right down onto your board. So like the other board, I couldn't put these bowls in there because my holes were not quite big enough. When I cut them, I just didn't get them quite big enough. So I didn't want to go back and trim them. This one already fit perfect, so I used that one for the top and this for the bottom. So this is what this looks like. I'll show you the back in a second, because we're going to want to put this together first. Okay, and then we're going to line this up. Did I put those in the right side? I'll have to put this on here, line it up, and flip it over and see if it looks like it's lined up well. Yes, it does. And that's what I'm talking about. See, now you can see inside of those. So, all right, then what we're going to do, I'm going to leave it like this so that I don't push those out of there. And we're going to take a paper clip, and we are going to nip our paper clip. See how we've got the little part of a loop there? We're going to nip it right there, so that basically we've got like a really long staple. And on this side, we're going to nip it right there. So again, we just have this long kind of loop. I did not bring my wire cutters, and I know I'm not going to even try and cut it with my scissors, so I'll be back in just 1 second. Okay, so now we will make some little clips to clip it together. So again, we're just going to cut off right straight across from this wire so that they're even. And this is then what we have. This is what we need. And on this one, we're going to do the same thing. Make sure that you hold on to your wire so it doesn't go flying. And so then that's what we have. So we'll get 2 out of each paper clip. Now, if you don't want to do this, I get these at the Dollar Tree. I think they come in a set of 5, and they're just a clamp. You can use these. On one side, there's a hole. So you could just use 4 of these. Put 1 on each side. I want to straighten this up for a second first, though. I want to make sure that I'm straight. Go. 1 on each side, 1 on the top, and 1 on the bottom. And then you could hang something from those little holes. Hang little danglies. Pretty Christmas decorations. So then it would look like this on the sides and the top and bottom. And that would hold it together. And then when it comes for the first, on the first, you break the tissue paper here and take out the prize that's inside. Okay, so, which also reminds me, at this point, before you put it together, before you now the clips are very easy, and the others will come out also, but before you put it together, this is when you put your little presents in there. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to use these to hold this, even though I'm not going to leave them on there. Okay, so what you'll do then is on the sides of your, I did not line that up before I did put those on. And the thing is, this did take me a while to do. It took me a while to cut all those holes, and it took a while to paint it and let the paint dry. But, you know, it really was fun. Papa enjoyed watching, instructing. And this is going to last for a long time. I make a new tissue paper every year and put it in there, and I can use it every year. And that's the cool thing about it. So then what you're going to do is you just take one of those little C's, this foam core board, whoops, you just go ahead and put one towards the bottom. You put half of the wire on this side and half of the wire on the other side, and just push it in there, just like that. Now, I am not going to put any on the bottom, because to me, the bottom, they might fall out. So, because they fit in there pretty good, but, you know, they're not going to be super tight, and you're going to be able to just pull them out at the end of the season when you're done. Just push it in there. Let me see how easily they pull out. Not too bad. It feels like it's pretty good. And if you need to, you could put a little dab of glue as you push them in, but just a little dab of glue so that you can, and again, we're going to cut this one the same as the other, a little dab of glue so you can pull them out later on, or you can use those clips. So we're just going to go through and put them in just like that. And I think probably 4 on each side and 4 across the top. See, that holds it nicely. It's held together there now, not a problem. They're just right there. You could even hang things off of those because they stick out just a little bit. Oops, sorry about that. They stick out just a little bit. So you could even hang a little something off of each one of those and then just pull it off at the end of the year to take them apart. So we'll really quickly put the 4 on the other side so I could take those clips off. And then we'll just have a final little look at it. And like I said, I might paint some little pine boughs on there. I might put some bling on here. You can do so many different things, and you just do it, you know, whatever way you find pretty for the type of decor that you have. Or whimsical if you're making it for a child that might, you know, like a certain something. And it doesn't even, you don't have to make them in the shape of a Christmas tree. You could do it any way that you want to. But this is just something that I've always wanted. I just dropped one of my little paper clips. I'm just going to put that there. And put this one right here. And put this one here. And then I'll put the other one here at the bottom. And I'll put 4 across the top also. But there it is. I can set it on the cups. They're not pushing through. It's not pushing the top off because we've got it held together. And we just have our really pretty Christmas tree advent calendar. Let's see if I can raise the camera just a little bit more. It's going to shake, but... So there we go. There's kind of the whole thing. But yeah, it was fun to make, and it's going to be fun to fill and to play with. So I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I hope that if you make one that you have fun. And then I hope you have fun the whole month of December, opening up each of the little prizes and seeing what's inside. Thanks again for stopping by. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Watch a commercial or two if you ever get a chance. Thanks again, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.